And what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'm back with another market video, man. So if you're new to the channel, subscribe. If not, drop a like, comment down below. Help your boy out a little bit. So if you guys haven't already seen it, which I'm assuming most of you have, I did do a pack opening for the last Anthony Davis Idol set, which was interesting to say the least. So go check that out. I'll link it at the end of the video. But the reason I'm making a market video today is because of what we have upcoming in 2K today. So, if you guys, or not today, but this week, if you guys aren't aware, every unlimited win this week nets you a little player pack, or some sort of pack. Basically just gives you like a badge, and a couple other things. I think like a shoe and a contract, right? So, the free badge is really cool. It has caused some badges to kind of go down in value. Not by much, not by as much as you'd expect. You are able to snipe some badges here and there, but at the same time, it's really only causing things like deep hooks, trapper, drop stepper, badges that aren't incredibly important. You can get some pretty cheap pogos and lob city finishers, which you can boost up some lower overall players for limited runs and stuff like that. Giving some lower overall big men like pogo and stuff like that does help you out on the defensive end. As far as on next gen and stuff like that, deep hooks will. Pick and roller, I guess, will help, but you can equip some of these badges to some lower overall guys just to make them a little bit better, guys that you're forced to use anyway. And in the long run, you may be able to make a little bit of MT on badges like this. If you pick up pick and roller for 800, I'm not saying immediately, but in a week or two, you could probably sell a few of those for 1.52K. Most badges that are important haven't really decreased in value. Floor General is a tad bit cheaper, maybe a couple hundred MT, but nothing crazy. You can get some for 2,700, but honestly, you can pretty much get that for that price all the time. So I would have liked to see some of the badges drop a little more to lower the price on them a bit. Range Extender, if they could have dropped that a little bit more, that would have been nice. But realistically, most people kind of pick those up in the packs, and most people probably didn't sell it. Most people probably kept them for whatever reason, probably just because the price was going to go up. So didn't affect the price on these badges too much. Hot Zone Hunter I think went down a little bit, maybe 1 or 2K on the silver side. Gold Hot Zone Hunter is a lot cheaper, so if you are looking to pick up that, if you need a gold Hot Zone Hunter from any of your players, now is probably the best time to pick those up. I mean, they're going for about 4 or 5K, which is pretty solid. Flexibles down a bit. Gold Flexibles under 10K, which is pretty solid price for Flexible. It's a pretty important badge. But yeah, 8K, that's a really nice price for it. And you can get them lower than that, down at 5 and 6K. Bronze and silver kind of remain extremely expensive. I really don't like silver badges this year because silver badges are just so ungodly expensive for seemingly no reason. I mean, they don't drop a lot, which I understand is 2K's thing. But the reason I'm talking about badges in the first place is I think this season is kind of the last season that badges are really, really going to be huge like this as far as ways to make MT. I think once we get to season 5, most cards are at least going to be gold badged out at that point. So badges are going to be significantly cheaper then. So if you're waiting to badge out guys you like, I would just wait. Now when it comes to wanting to badge out your guys, so let's say I want to equip Andrei Kirilenko, who I already have, with gold range extender all the way. He doesn't have range extender at all off the rip, so it'd be significantly cheaper for you to just go buy a Andrei Kirilenko with range extender. Now I know even if it's 100K or even a little bit over 100K, it's still probably cheaper for you to do it this way rather than actually go and pay for bronze, silver, and gold range extender if you don't have any of them. Just because bronze and silver range extender will run you probably around 60 or so K, possibly even more depending on your system. So me spending 100K on an Andrei Kirilenko diamond with gold range extender already, plus a couple other badges here and there. Most people don't just have range extender, they'll have 3 or 4 other gold badges on them as well. And then reselling my Andrei Kirilenko for, around 80, 90K, it makes me only spend, at the end of it all, probably around 20K. So it's a significantly cheaper option to do it like that. Now, Luka Doncic, if you guys not aware, if you guys watched my pack opening, I said he was essentially the same as the Pink Diamond, which when I said it was true, but then the next day they actually changed his jump shot. So now Luka has Zion base in current gen. He has a different release in next gen. So if you're looking for like a very usable Luka, he's the way to go. I still wouldn't recommend paying that much MT for him. Nikhil Alexander Walker. Hopefully you sold him at the time, because when I sold him for 30K. Now he's going for around 6 or 7. If you're looking for an offensive guard at the Amethyst spot, I mean, 6, 7K is not bad. Allen Houston and Jason Kidd are not buy it now yet. I wouldn't recommend picking any of these guys up for the price. I think they'll end up being buy it now later in the season, so I would wait on those. Michael Carter-Williams is still ungodly expensive. To be completely honest, for a good majority of the player base, like, he's a good card. He's a big point guard. He plays excellent defense. I don't know. I think he's not great for the entirety of the player base. Like, certain people will really enjoy him, but that's about it. Anthony Davis is really expensive. I personally, he's a really good card. I just don't think he's worth that price at this stage in the game. Oscar Robertson, I think, is a little undervalued, though, and that's why I wanted to bring him up. Should you go pay 200K for a pink diamond right now? Probably not, but if you have like a higher tier point guard who you're not really a huge fan of, and you're looking for somebody who's a little bit better as like a pure point guard and a defensive player, like Oscar Robertson is probably, in my opinion, a top 3 point guard in the game. Danny Granger is severely underrated this year, for sure. Now, I'm of the opinion he's better than Pink Diamond Paul George, but that's like, I'm in the minority on that one. Like, I don't think too many people think that way, but as far as like overall effectiveness for your team, I think Danny Granger is incredibly good. Like, if you have, for instance, Diamond Zion, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to send him off and get 200 to 250K and then go pick up Danny Granger for 150 to like 180K. Net yourself some NT and you end up getting, in my opinion, a better player overall. He does have the same base as Zion as well, so you're not really losing a step as far as jump shots go. Tony Roten is a budget version of Michael Carter-Williams. That's the best way I can describe him. He's Michael Carter-Williams, but he's a little bit worse. He's body type, they're about the same, but he's under 2K, as opposed to being 11, 12K. Tony Roten's probably going to be a really good option because I think we've seen 2 Sapphire-based challenges in a row, so I think we're going to start to see some Ruby and Amethyst ones coming up soon. So having Tony Roten's going to be pretty nice. I still think, like, for my playstyle, I prefer Shumpert just because he has that little bit of an advantage in shooting that I think Shumpert's a little better, and Markelle Fultz obviously is better. But as far as those 2 guys, like, I think Tony Roten's right in the conversation for one of the best Ruby point guards in the game. So picking him up for 1,800, a lot of risk reward on that. Like, it's 1,800 is the max you're going to lose if you don't like Tony Roten. He's not a shooter, so if you're a 3-hunter, Tony Roten is not going to be for you, but if you attack the rim a lot, run some pick and rolls, he plays excellent defense, he does a little bit of everything. You can boost his 3 up with a shoe if you so choose. Now, if you're looking for a budget option at the 2-guard / small forward, and you don't want to pay 50, 60K for like a Rudy Fernandez or something of that nature, Terrence Ross is actually incredibly good. And you can pick him up for right around like 26, 27K, which is not bad for a diamond at this stage. Like, it's what I would recommend paying for like a top tier diamond at this stage in the game. Terrence Ross is really good. He only has bronze clamps, so that's kind of an issue, is he's a little bit of a liability defensively, but he's still got a nice body type, and he still has at least bronze clamps. So, and he's great offensively. He has pretty much every offensive badge you'd want him to have. Pretty easy to time jump shot too. If you remember using him last year, like if any of you guys used his Diamond Spotlight Sim card last year, it's the exact same card, except he has clamps. Like, that's the only difference. That Hall of Fame steady shooter is kind of a problem, but if you are on next gen, like, it's just blinders, so it's not really that big of a deal. And if you're on current gen, it's not the end of the world. He will miss some whites occasionally, but I'm probably one of the only YouTubers that doesn't think steady shooter is as big of a deal as other people make it to be. Like, yeah, it's annoying occasionally, but unless you're like a top tier player, you're probably not going to shoot as many open shots. Like, if you have somebody rushing you and you get 5-10% contest, like, that steady shooter badge is going to be important if that happens pretty consistently. And like, for me, that happens pretty consistently. I shoot wide open shots, but not as high of a clip as like a comp player would. So in limited this week, which is a pain in the ass, I will admit, you do get the option to pull Idols packs. So you are going to see some of the Idols guys go down just a smidge in price. It's not going to be very much, but it is going to go. They are going to go down a little bit. Like I said, not a crazy amount, but you'll start to see them go down by a couple G's. Now, one thing I do want to talk about the Idols guys, and the reason I'm talking about these guys is because I don't think it's worth picking up a lot of these like cards at this stage in the game. Like when it comes to Kevin Durant or Grant Hill and stuff like that, I don't think that it's really worth picking them up right now. Like I've sold all of them off for a reason, just because they're slowly starting to become outdated. So you'll notice I do have a nice range of guys in my auction. The reason for that is just because for future exchanges and stuff like that, and if there's like daily challenges, I have them. So you are starting to see a lot of people buy up all of these heat check guys. Now here's the real key, like the real question is, are we going to get another set of heat check packs this week? Like, are they going to redo the heat check packs with new moments players? Now that's going to really determine the value of the heat check guys. To be honest, I think we could see heat check packs end up in the token market next season. That wouldn't incredibly surprise me. So I don't think it's worth leveraging a lot of your MT to go grab those tokens for the lock-ins for the heat check pack. But I will say over the next season and a half, that if you are planning on doing that at any point in time, this is the time to do it, because they're going to end up going extinct somewhere around like March. And it's going to be way more expensive to try to lock those sets in. So one thing I wanted to talk about is, oh man, like I said, the Idols guys, they are going to go down. Like Kevin Durant is down in price, Grant Hill, all those guys. Even these guys are down in price a little bit. Like Larry Bird, if you're a big Larry Bird fan, now's a good time to grab him. I still think he goes down in price more at some point, but Brook Lopez is still a pretty budget center, and I think for 30K, he's definitely worth the pickup. That's just my opinion anyway. Some of the flash guys are a little bit cheaper, like Jimmy Butler is not really worth that price, just because people will start to sell him off and forget about him in a couple weeks, and he'll be down closer to like 200K, so if you are really interested in that card, that's about when you want to do it. Rudy Fernandez, as much as I like this card, is way too expensive right now. Like, Rudy Fernandez is a really, really good card. Do not get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of this card. I run him in my main lineup. But at the same time, why he's 50 so K is just kind of like baffling to me. I mean, he is that good, but I figured people would like chill on him by this point. You know, I don't know. So glitch guys, Markelle Fultz is an incredible card, like literally. Okay, why are there so many for 14.95? All right, so Markelle Fultz is being price fixed, pretty obviously. Yeah, literally almost every Markelle Fultz is either 15K or 14.95. Like some 14.75s. Looks like he's been price fixed down 200 MT. Yeah, so somebody made a huge investment on Markelle Fultz at some point. Yeah, I mean, I would kind of wait for him to come down. I think, like, to be completely honest, as far as like the amount of MT that you could make from this card, it's probably worth 14K to grab him, especially if you're running a lot of TTO. You can make it back in a day. So it's not really that big of a deal, but at the same time, Jesus, why is he so expensive, man? I mean, he's the best Ruby point guard available by far, but still, that's insane. He's really getting price fixed that hard right now. Zion, so like I talked about earlier, if you do have Zion and you're looking to move on from him, like Danny Granger is better at the small forward position, in my opinion. Plus, you can get that Antoine Jameson, so you're not really going to need Zion anymore after that. I would sell him for 200K, try to pick up Danny Granger at a budgeted price, make a little MT on the side. That's one thing I would recommend doing. Now, if you can't afford AD or you just don't want to put up that much MT and you do want an elite center, like DeMarcus Cousins is still incredibly elite, so that's somebody maybe you want to look into. The season of giving guys are a lot cheaper still. They're still super under the radar. Like Jamal Murray is still a top tier point guard, and he is going for about 30K. Eddie Jones is still... like, he's in my starting lineup. Still, like, I could go get Jimmy Butler. I have 1.2 million, but I use Eddie Jones for a reason. Like, I like this card a lot, and you can get him for 30 to 40K, which is stupidly cheap for a card that efficient. That's Eddie Jones is kind of what I thought was going to happen to Rudy Fernandez. I thought people were going to kind of forget about him and just pretend like he is not good anymore, even though he still is, and he's going to be super cheap. So Xavier McDaniel's an incredibly good amethyst, and I've been saying for a while I think we're going to get a lot of amethyst-based challenges this season, so picking up him and Siakam just to have in case you do have those is going to be a good idea. Plus, you can use them for TTO and stuff like that, so you can get their value back pretty quickly. These guys are cheap, I mean, if you want them. Bol is also being price fixed, it would appear, because every single one is up here for 8K, and they all end within like 10 seconds of each other. Yeah, literally, they all end within like 10 seconds of each other. Yeah, so 4K for Bol is a really good price. I think we're going to get some Ruby challenges, and he's an elite tier Ruby center. So I don't think it's the worst idea to do that. Luka, to be completely honest with you, this Luka kind of sucks, in my opinion. He just has like a slower jump shot. They didn't update his. Anthony Davis is still really expensive. This card is still incredibly usable. Just because the Opal came out doesn't mean this card's not really good. That him and Zion duo is still very, very, I don't know, I don't want to say successful, but usable. Kobe, if you have Kobe now, I'd recommend just selling him, dude. He'll never, his value will never be higher. That's just my thing. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. I just wanted to talk about some market stuff, help you guys make a lot of MT, because I think we are going to get some pretty stellar packs this week. I think we're getting throwback moments, new moments, and we're getting a big promo with 2 opals on Friday. That's my opinion, so be ready for that. Anyways, it's been your boy Cheap Ludes, and I'll be back tomorrow.